It's just started doing that now where it tells you that it's being recorded, and I still find it really strange. Okay, so let me just do this. Right, okay. So can everyone see my screen and see the slides okay?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously some of you guys have been doing this for a few months now. Jen, you're obviously new, so we'll do a little bit of welcome to the team. So in terms of Project U, Jen, obviously we have already had this conversation, so you do know a bit about this already. But for the guys who are going to be watching this back recorded, obviously I want you all to remember that whatever you're going through right now, however you're feeling about yourselves, the negative spaces that you have got into, I have been there. I genuinely have experienced pretty much the majority of stuff that we can go through. Binge eating, extreme cardio, the extreme diets, the C9 cleanse where I genuinely was drinking shots of aloe vera gel thinking that was going to help me lose weight. And it's been a long journey for me. Like I can literally remember being under 16, like I must have been in my early teens, going into shops with my mum, trying on a pair of, or trying to find pairs of jeans that would fit me and fit my body. And I hated it because nothing ever fit. I felt so like bad in myself. And so like even to this day, even now, like I still have my own issues that I work on, and I still have days where I don't feel brilliant, and I still have days where things don't go to plan and weeks where things don't go to plan. But I've learned that that's okay, and that the bigger picture is what's important, and everything that I've learned is what I've put into Project U, about how we can see past all of that, how we can keep going, all of that type of stuff. So obviously, like for Charlotte and Gemma, yours, you've been doing this for a little bit longer now, and Jen, we've had this conversation, but just as a reminder, everything that you will get, so over the next 8 weeks, you've got your one-to-one workout programming, your one-to-one nutritional coaching, your Trainerize account, access to the Project U members section of the website. You get your one-to-one messaging access with me, monthly video calls, and you also get your one SOS call each month. So ladies, please do not forget that you have this to use. Like if you're struggling, if you're having a bad week, like you can essentially have a call with me every couple of weeks if you need that SOS call as well. So that is really, really useful. And I think clients generally forget about it because I don't get many requests for them, but that's a part of your growth to recognize when you're struggling and recognize when you actually need to ask for that call. Okay, so just don't forget about that one. Then every month we do one monthly online yoga session. I've put here last Thursday. It used to be the last Thursday of every month. But Hannah, who does our yoga session, she's actually going to Italy at the end of this month. So the date for this month, if you're wanting to write it down now, it's going to be the 21st of June. Let me just double check what time it's going to be. I'll obviously message this into the group as well. What time did she say? 7 p.m. Oh no. Either 7 p.m. or 7:30. I don't think we've confirmed it, but just so you know, that'll be a Monday instead. It's like the second to last Monday of the month. So just keep that in your calendars and make sure that you've got that one planned in. Then we've got some weekly challenges and stuff that we can be doing, and bi-weekly educational webinars. So I've put bi-weekly. It depends how often there's like new topics come up, things that people want to talk about. If there's any questions that you have that I feel like are going to be really good for talking about on a webinar. We'll talk about them. I think this month I'll probably redo the flexible dieting webinar at some point, because I know that obviously, like especially now with the weather getting warmer, people are wanting to do more stuff on a weekend. So I'm thinking that one, I'll definitely re-talk about that one. But then if we've got new topics that anybody wants to discuss, we can discuss those as well. So that's all for me. Please ignore that. That's my fault for not updating that bit. So let's get on to the goal setting section. So when it comes to setting our goals, obviously we all know that goals are key to any successful venture. Like, you have to have an idea in your mind of where you want to get to, and to make the absolute most of the next like few weeks, you know, however long you've got left with me, we need to set goals for the full term and obviously for shorter term. So this is where people tend to go wrong. So for goals to be something that you can use on a day-to-day basis, they need to be clear and specific. So one of your goals may be, I want to eat less takeaways, as an example. Let's just say that. But we need to make it quantifiable. So we need to have an actual number, and we need to be realistic with it as well. So if we was to say, I'm going to have no takeaways, but you are somebody who has maybe had takeaways like every night of the week, you're probably going to crave them at some point. So we want to set a realistic goal, recognizing that you don't have to be perfect at everything immediately. So instead, what we would say is, I'm going to have maybe one takeaway a week, but I'm also going to challenge myself to create one new fake away meal every week that obviously feels like a takeaway. So for you, I just want you now to think about, like, what are your goals this month? Have you thought about them already? If you haven't, it's probably going to be putting you under too much pressure to think about them right this second. But what we can start to think about is, are they quantifiable enough? So when you are thinking about them, are you thinking about how you can measure your success? And that's the real like trick with it. I've done it, so I do it every month. Like, I set myself a goal, and then when I look back at the end of the month, I'm like, oh, well, I didn't achieve that. Why didn't I achieve that? And it's because I didn't make it like measurable. So as an example, I have a nutrition course that I'm on. It's like an online course, and I keep saying to myself every month, I need to do some more work on my nutrition course. And it gets to the end of the month and I haven't done it. And it's because I haven't made it quantifiable. I haven't said how many hours of the week I want to do it. I haven't said what days I'm going to do it. Like, there's no measure. I've just said I want to do some more of my nutrition course. How much of it do I want to do? So think about your goals. Think about if they are quantifiable. If they're not, let's make them quantifiable. Let's make them measurable. If they are, amazing. We can then go to the next step, which is about using your goals to define the action that you are going to take on a day-to-day basis. And we'll talk about that in a second. The other main thing to remember is that goals have to be visible and present at the forefront of your mind to keep you going. Because on the days you find it tough, you're going to forget why you started. You're going to forget what it was that really drove you to want to do it in the first place. So obviously all you guys know what I'm like with journaling and with mindset and stuff. Every morning I look at my monthly goals and I write down goals for the day. And every morning I take some time to think about what it is I want to achieve. And I have like a little like card up here on my like whiteboard, which is like my kind of like business whiteboard, and it says, ask yourself every day, what kind of person do I need to be today in order to succeed, and then become that person. And I just feel like that's like such a good little like mindset trick to think about. It's not about what's the end result. It's like, who do I need to be in order to achieve that goal? So think about that as well, because the behavior change is where the real like kind of sustainable change will last. So in terms of your girls, thinking long term, and I know that Charlotte and Gemma, you've done this in the past, but it's always really good to do it again. So, please kind of still do this. So I just want you to close your eyes for a few seconds. You can go off camera if you would prefer, if you're on camera. And imagine long term being at your happiest with yourself. And it's usually easiest to picture what that version of you looks like. How does she dress? Is she wearing, crop tops that maybe you wouldn't wear right now? What does she see when she looks in the mirror? Does she smile when she looks at herself in the mirror? And however you picture yourself long term, like when you are, no specific time frame, by the way, for this. We're not saying you're going to have achieved this in 8 weeks. We're not going to say you've achieved it in a year. We're just saying where, when you are happiest with your body, like what do you picture that being? And it is okay to think about this. I know that in the kind of current climate, I feel like it's a very it's like a bit of a treading the line between body positivity of, being happy and confident in your body already, and feeling like you want to change something. And it's okay to want to change. Like I am telling you now, that's totally okay. As much as like I love the body positivity message, and we shouldn't ever feel like we have to change to feel worthy. Equally, if you're not happy with yourself, like then that needs to be, something that we work on. You deserve a body that you absolutely love. You deserve to feel confident in yourselves. You deserve to feel empowered. You can have that. There is no reason that you can't. So now that you know what that woman looks like, now we want to think about how she feels and acts differently. So how does she handle situations differently to how she does now? Is she more adventurous? Is she more daring? Is she more content in general? What does she do differently to what you do right now? And I'm not just saying like, because she's confident with herself, maybe she, like we think like, oh, she wears shorts all of the time, just as an example, because I talked about that today. But what else does she do differently? Like, how does she put effort into her health and fitness? Like, if you're somebody who wants to kind of get turned and like have like visible muscles, you don't get that by not going to the gym. So she's going to be somebody who enjoys going to the gym all of the time, or enjoys working out at home all of the time. And wherever you're at right now, our aim is to start you recognizing that you are that person right now, and that these two people aren't completely separate of each other. They are one person. And then we want to think about why it is that you want these girls as well. So how is her life different in a beneficial way because of this effort that she's put into her health and fitness? What things can she do differently right now? Can she do differently, that she doesn't do right now? Is it a case of running around after children for longer? Is it a case of actually having more memories because you're happy to have your photo taken? Like, there's so many different things, and obviously it's totally personal to you as an individual, but really do take the time to think about this. Think about it for you. Nobody else can tell you what you want or what your goals are or what to think. But if you can kind of take some time to think about this for yourself, and then have this somewhere where you can, be reminded of it on a regular basis, that's going to be so helpful to your overall journey. And I'm just going to have a little drink because my throat sounds like I've been smoking 56 a day. Okay. So now that we've thought long term, nobody's saying that we're going to achieve all of this within the next, like 8 weeks, however long you've got with me, but we can at least make a start. So what things do you think you need to do to support this change in your life? Like, what things are you in control of right now that you can change or that you can improve on, that are going to be beneficial to this right now, today? I've put down here. It might be getting up 30 minutes earlier so that you get your workout in every morning, no excuses, it just gets done. It might be journaling every day to dispel the negative beliefs that you have about yourself. But only you can really identify what it is that you need, that you can do and that you need to do. Like, as much as I would love to be able to tell you all that, I can't tell you. It's just something that I can guide you to finding out for yourself. And then we've talked about this in the past as well, but visualization is one of the biggest tools that you can use to support your goals. So the mind cannot tell the difference between something which is just a thought and something which is reality. It's been proven in scientific studies that they tested the brain functioning of runners and they got them to sit in a chair and visualize running a race. They measured the brain functioning and then they measured the brain functioning when they actually ran a race, and it was exactly the same. Like, there was no differences. Your brain doesn't know what's reality and what's not. That's why when you have like a really intense dream, you wake up and your body has been physically reacting to whatever your brain has been picturing during that dream. Like, if it's been a nightmare, you wake up sweating, and if your body and your mind didn't really believe that, then you wouldn't have those physical responses. And we can use that to our advantage to get you to where you want to be. So obviously being able to visualize the changes you want to see is one element of it, but you have to be able to really feel into them and like feel the feelings of what it would be like to have achieved, that personal best on your squats, or to kind of like put on some clothes that you wouldn't wear now and feel confident in them. You have to really be able to feel it. And for me personally, as much as I say visualization, the first image that everybody always gets is meditating to visualize, or vision boards. Now, neither of those have really worked for me. I don't know why. I never do vision boards properly, and I always think that I end up making them look rubbish. And then I don't pay it much attention, or I kind of put it somewhere and I never really look at it. And the meditating side of things, again, meditating for me, like the longest I can do it for is a couple of minutes before I start thinking of all the jobs I've got to do. So there's definitely stuff I need to work on there. But one of the ways that does work for me is that I write like a script to myself of how I picture things are different and how I feel because things are different. And I write it all in the present tense as though it's happened now. So like, if, for example, when I was launching the boot camp for Project U, and I have never obviously done that before, I was writing down like a script of, I have got X amount of girls signed up to the boot camp. They are all really enjoying it. Things like that are like in the present tense, the way that I picture things going. And then what I do is I read that back to myself every morning, and I allow myself to like feel those feelings of what would happen if that actually, came to life. And that for me works really, really well. Like having it written down, reading it to myself and taking it in that way. But it's different for everybody. So it might be that a vision board works for you. Another thing that I do is I have like affirmations on my phone screen. So, obviously like we've all done it in the past where we've had like Fitspur pictures on our backgrounds on our phones, but there might be something that you can put on your phone that reminds you. It might be like little post-it notes around your house. It might be meditating. That might work the best for you. But whatever it is, obviously everyone's different. You just have to find the way that works best for you, and keep doing that, like stay consistent with it. So that kind of covers off what I wanted to talk about with you guys for goal setting. Hopefully that sparked a few thoughts. It sparked a few like positive kind of images. Because what happens like over this next month, over the next however many weeks, it's always up to you. And we, like, obviously Gemma and Charlotte, you guys have both been on the program already for 8 weeks now. You're into your second 8-week block. 8 weeks can really pass in a flash, can't it? And it's up to you how you spend that 8 weeks. So it's Project You for a reason. It's 8 weeks to focus on you. It's 8 weeks to get my support, get the other girls' support. And yeah, it's just a really, like, it's a time for you to spend on you and to feel comfortable. Share your wins, share your days which go to shit as much as people don't like to. It stops you feeling alone, and it stops you feeling like you're the only one. Like, I know that the group chat doesn't have loads going on, but it's there for a reason. It's there to support you. It's a tool for you to use. So what I always find, the clients who use the tools that are given to them and, you know, use them to their entirety, they're not worrying about if anybody else is using it. They're just using it because they know it'll benefit them. Like, they're the ones that generally get the best results. So that's obviously like up to you how you spend that time. But yeah, so that kind of covers off what I wanted to talk about this evening. Like, I do think it's really important to kind of cover off girls every month, because I know for myself that it gets to the end of the month, it gets to the start of the month, and I'm like, if I don't take this time out, you know, to actually sit down and think about this stuff, then another month will pass and I'm nowhere near where I want to be, and then I just end up frustrated. So does anyone have any questions that they want to ask about goal setting, about like any of this that we've covered, or about something else? You know, like if you've kind of got any other questions, please feel free to use this time to ask those as well. Don't worry if you don't, that's totally fine as well. Okay, so did everybody find it useful?
Yes.
Yeah. Good, good. Does everybody feel like they are going to be able to go and write their goals for this month, stick them up everywhere, or just have them somewhere that they will be able to keep seeing them and actually use them? So I heard a quote which was, not, it's a Tony Robbins quote, and Tony Robbins is somebody that I love, like a mindset guy. He hates being called mindset, but he's very, very, very motivational. And what he says is, knowledge isn't power, knowledge is potential power. It's action that makes the knowledge powerful. So it's all very well and good knowing this stuff, like you probably all already knew it, but it's actually putting it into action that makes a difference. And that's what I always am trying to help you guys do. It's not just about telling you what to do, it's about helping you build positive habits that are then going to last you for the rest of your lives. Okay.
I think I felt like, I know for a fact after listening to tonight that I needed it, because what I've done while we've been on is I've picked up my little book and read my goals that I set 8 weeks ago for the first time.
Yeah, and that's the first time you've read them again. And it happens. Honestly, it does happen. Like, I write goals out and then, you know, they're in a book and I don't check them. And it's just about saying to yourself, okay, well, how can I make them more visible to me? Like, what can I do differently? Where do they need to go? You know, can I kind of get them in different places? One thing that I've been doing lately is I have an alarm on my phone that goes off at like multiple times throughout the day. And obviously you guys know I'm quite like into my affirmations and stuff like that. So I know you won't think I'm like, well, you probably do think I'm a bit woo-woo, but that's fine. But I have like literally my main affirmation that's on this alarm every day, and it goes off at multiple times during the day. And I've just set myself an intention of, every time it goes off, I have to stop. I don't just turn it off. I have to at least read it out to myself. So like not necessarily out loud if I'm somewhere where I would just get funny looks, but I have to at least read it and feel it, like feel positive whilst I'm like reading that out to myself. And honestly, I can say it's made such a difference. So even if like you have an alarm on your phone that goes off once like during the day and it's got your number one goal on it, or it's got a positive quote, or you know, something to just kind of keep your brain remembering and like keep your goals at the forefront of your mind, like all daft little things like that can help. You guys know what I'm like for telling you to set alarms as like reminders. I say it about everything. My phone's literally got like a list this long of like different alarms that I've set for myself. But no, I'm really pleased that that's been useful for you, Charlotte. And you know, that's what I mean about this stuff, like you pick up new things every time you hear it, even when you have heard it before. So yeah, I'm really glad that that was useful. Okay, well, I will let you all get going then. Thank you for joining this evening. As I say, I hope you found it useful. And any questions that you've got, or if you want to share your girls with me when you've written them out or got them, then please just drop them through as a message.
Thank you.
That's okay. All right, have a good evening, guys, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.